furnace that was heated up 7 times more, they said that we will not bow down to your golden image. We will serve the Lord our God. He is able to save us. And even if he doesn't, even if he does not, we will still not bow down to your golden image. We will still continue to worship the Lord our God. How amazing is that? When you get to that place of worshiping, then you will know you're a true worshiper. A worshiper is not someone who leads worship or sings in church. A worshiper is someone who is transformed by the gospel of Jesus Christ and has allowed, that transformation to inform the decisions in their lives. So it's so powerful, such a beautiful song. I mean, before we make the devotion spill over to the newspaper review, allow me to now just inform us what is happening in our nation. There's just a lot of things happening, and oftentimes even it's usually a way for us to be reminded that God is at work, to always know that no matter what we could be going through, no matter how the situation looks like, God is still at work in our nation today. And so I would love to just encourage us that even as we get to the newspaper review, our motive, even for us bringing this news to you, is not just so we are getting informed. It's not just for your information. No, it is very much tied to our prayer request, and also just asking the Lord, what would you have us do in our nation of Kenya at such a time as this? And of course, even just to say briefly what we are expecting is just to be reminded that indeed we are in that season where now we are looking at the aftermath after Raila's death. And of course, everywhere mourning is still ongoing. If you move around, you will see that even there are certain billboards that have, RIP, our Honorable Raila Odinga. So we have all these things happening. And of course, we are also looking at the aftermath wondering, so what next? What happens for, the government? What happens for the politics, the political area, especially because now we are gearing also up towards the elections that are about to take place. Not so, haziko mbali, because in 2027, we just have a year. Of course, we are expecting that next year will probably be filled with a lot of campaigns and people trying to, say all the things that they're going to do for the nation. Wanasemanga kila mwamba ngoma huivuta kwake. So those are just the things that we are looking at. And of course, on the aftermath of Raila, here we see that Raila party in crisis meeting as Oburu takes charge. So this is a story covered on page 7 of the Daily Nation this morning, saying Siaya Senator Oburu Oginga, who was recently installed as the interim ODM party leader following the death of his brother Raila, has convened a meeting of the party's top decision-making organ today in the face of growing internal fight. A story covered on page 7. And of course, on the abductions, we've been covering this past few days, and I say UN official also condemns this proportionate use of force by police against protesters to crush dissent. And it's saying here UN is demanding answers. So the Kenyan government has snapped 2 letters from a United Nations official raising concerns about police killings, abductions, and also enforced disappearances, detention and prosecution of government critics following protests in 2024 and this year. By ignoring the communication from Miss Mary Lolo, the special rapporteur of the situation of human rights defenders, Kenya's case will be referred to the Human Rights Council, an organ of the UN General Assembly. A story covered on pages 4 and also 5. And moving on, I see a tragedy here. A couple, son killed in accident after dowry ceremony in Kiambu. This is so sad. A couple and their son were among the 6 people who died on Saturday night when their vehicle plunged into a river in Murang'a County. May their souls rest in peace. This is quite unfortunate, quite a tragedy, quite a very, very big tragedy that after their dowry ceremony, this happened. A couple and their son. It's quite unfortunate. We pray for comfort even for the families that have been affected by this terrible incident. On the education sector, we see students begin exams on senior school placement. So over 2 million candidates will today sit at the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment KPSEA and the Kenya Junior Secondary Education Assessment KJSEA ahead of transition to senior school. So we pray for all these students who are beginning their examinations today, that the Lord will give them wisdom, remembrance over what they have learned, and ultimately success. And moving on, I see other stories on the sports segment. Chepkorir eyes big league after Stanchart Nairobi Marathon success. So that is being reported right here on the Daily Nation as well. And they have also, something has come up in Naivasha, whereby there are mysterious murders and bodies dumped on roadsides. And this has become a cause for concern in Naivasha. Quite unfortunate, quite sad. And we continue to pray for our young girls and young boys, because these things are happening to the young. You wonder what is. Murder has become something so casual, and it's quite unfortunate. And I think just the other day, Sitam Valley Road had a women's conference this last Saturday, and we got a chance to sit with the wonderful Lady Justice Rose Ougo, who was just saying that she handles murder cases on a daily basis, that there are so many murder cases that are brought to her table. So that tells you the decay that is in our country today, that murder has become something so casual. So that means we need to pray. We need to ask that principality, that spirit of murder and premature death is going to leave our nation, that the enemy is not going to have a especially because our young people are dying prematurely. So we need to pray that spirit of murder is going to leave our country. And I also see Daily Nation here covering UN sounds alarm as women face record violence, hunger, and also displacement in wars. And looking now at the Standard newspaper, just to see if there's a correlation with what has been reported here as well. I see here the top page covering trapped in Russia, and the story goes ahead to say Russia's war on Ukraine is now affecting Kenyans directly, with severe consequences as it emerges that hundreds of countries' youths have been trapped and forced to fight on Russia's front lines, with dozens killed and many more nursing life-changing injuries in military hospitals. Most were promised well-paying jobs but were coerced into the army upon arrival. And today we released the identities of 5 young men who traveled to Russia between July and August, whose whereabouts are unknown back home but are said to be on the front line. So some of the pictures have been put there for one's consideration, and of course we pray that they will be found, that they are safe, and that all is well. Time to hold Iranian suspects amid mystery over consignment owners. Page 6 is covering that. And also, of course, major milestones as learners sit KJSEA and grade 9 exam. So examination will determine transition to senior school for inaugural cohort of grade 9 candidates in new CBE system. So that is what is being reported on the Standard newspaper. And you can definitely grab a copy of your favorite, but allow me to just look at the Business Daily, just the top story here and what is being reported. I see puzzle of extra 1.1 billion in state pay to French contractor. So PPP unit says 7.3 billion shillings paid for cancelled road contract. Budget controller signed off 6.2 billion compensation. So that is a story covered on the Business Daily. And of course, right now, just to end the newspaper review, it's just to remind us that you can tune in to Hope FM at the top of every hour so that you can get updated on our latest news happening both in the nation and also beyond. Remember to keep praying. Let's keep praying even for these families that they are in need of